how to make your A/B tests more efficient on Shopify. And by efficient, I mean less error prone and faster to set up and put down. The reason I'm making this video is because I recently set this up for one of my clients and I thought it would be something worth sharing. I have a development agency at the moment. I work with multiple developers, so we kind of need a standardized process for how we organize these things. And the fix for this is, as you guess, a standardized process. The likely errors you're going to run into if you don't have some sort of process around your A/B tests are error prone. Things break all the time. A/B test is no exception. Very often it can be quite dire as well. If you got something that breaks on the product display page, heaven forbid, people can't add to cart. This has happened to my clients. I've seen it firsthand. You lose a lot of money very quickly. It's not a cheap mistake. Along with the error prone, this calls into the question the validity of the test. So an error that breaks your product display page is obviously terrible. Some of them, however, are less obvious. So maybe the test isn't executing properly the way that you need it to. And then at the end, you've run the test, you're looking at the data, and it's like you're not 100% sure it's accurate, which kind of means the test was a waste. So that's not good. And then third, the time taken to actually set up and add the test properly. So you will set up a test initially, and then at the end, you either passed or it failed. So you want to get rid of the code completely, or you want to add it into your page permanently. This shouldn't really take additional work, right? Because you've already built it. But very often when you have tests, you have to go in and adjust it so that it works properly or take it out. Or if you don't, it kind of builds up and then after a while you have to do like a big refactor from the dev team. So again, this is also because you don't have a process. Okay, gonna be using a little diagram here to make my point. The reason I found the A/B test gets complicated is because to make the A/B test, you have to customize elements on your page. And these elements normally come from a bunch of different places, which is just confusing for a bunch of reasons I'm going to go into. But if you think of the user experience as something that is built on the fly, so every time a user comes to your website, whatever they are experiencing, the way the website is the user experience. Often A/B tests take inputs from different areas. So the website itself is obviously, the base thing that you have. For this test, you might have done something with the third-party apps. You might have had some custom CSS or JavaScript on your website. And then the test framework as well will also add some custom code in CSS. The problem with this is, and one of the reasons it makes it so error prone, is no one really knows where everything lives. Every time a developer looks at a test another developer set up, they're not 100% sure if it's on the test framework, if it's on the website, if it's related to the app. And this also causes a lot of problems I've had this before. If you have developers in different time zones, developer A sets up a test, goes to bed, everything seems fine. It breaks 6 hours later, developer A is asleep. Developer B needs to jump on the problem, or if it's urgent, I have to jump on the problem. And, it takes me half an hour to figure out where everything is before I can even fix it. So it's not a great system. And also as well, like I said, the user experience built on the fly, you don't really know what the user's seeing. I mentioned that sometimes if things are error prone, there can be validity questions about whether the test was significant or not. If every time the user experience is kind of different based on the framework, test framework, the website, third-party apps, it's less predictable, right? So I'm not going to go into the code specifics, but just from a theory perspective, the system that I have built is making sure that all of the code for the test lives on the website. The test framework is responsible for tracking the sessions, for segmenting the audiences, for everything related to the analytics side, and its only job is to tell the website to run a test. That's it. Third-party apps as well, they go into the website. The website does all of the change, everything of the changes on the website, and that makes it consistent for each user experience. For example, if I now go on the website, or I'm building it locally, or your devs are, whatever website they have, the features that they build to run the test is exactly what the user is going to see because it's the same experience. The test framework literally just turns it on and off. I think I got this because I have a background in product as well. And in product, we have this thing called feature flags, which is where you'll add a feature into the code base and you can turn it on and off depending on the user that's using it, certain conditions. And it's kind of a way they run their tests, which I don't see in e-commerce for some reason, but you guys run way more tests. So it's a good thing to take. And the way that looks in the code base is actually really simple. I just have a singular file which handles all the A/B tests in terms of activation and turning it off. And it means that every time you are building an A/B test, you actually just build it normally on the A/B test, and you build it normally through the code base on the website with an option to turn it on and off through like a code option. The test framework, all it will do is turn the test on and off. That's it. That way, everything lives in one place. The developers can always test it. And the nice thing as well, you don't have to do double work if the test passes or fails. So if the test fails, it's a little bit more work because you got to go into the code and delete it. But everyone knows where it is because it's already in the code base and it's, it's connected to this code that activates it. And if it passes, you remove the activation and you just keep it on all the time. So there's no additional work. You build the test once into the website and then it either stays or it goes. But you don't have to, if originally you have half of the code on the test framework, when the test passes and you want to put it into the website, you have to now add it into the website. It's like 2 setups, which is inefficient. So just a high level overview, but it's a simple way of thinking about organizing your tests and making sure everything's in the same place. For me so far, it's been super reliable because again, everyone knows where everything lives. And also my teams manage multiple clients. So it's like this process we can use with any test framework because all the test framework does is tells the website to turn on the test. So it works IntelliGems, Convert, whatever you want to use. I think it's the most robust. But yeah, I hope that was of use. If you got any questions, just hit me up. I love talking about this stuff.